일을 할 수 있을까? 여러분 안녕하세요. 오늘은 여기 헝가리 부다페스트에서 스타트업 하시는 분 알게 돼가지고 그분의 사무실에 잠깐 방문해보려고 합니다. 저처럼 교육 스타트업을 하시는 분이어가지고 이 근처에 바로 사무실이 있다고 하셔가지고 보러 갈 거예요. 너무 떨려요. 이 헝가리가 현재 유럽의 그 스타트업 웨이브가 있잖아요. 영국을 시작해서 프랑스, 네덜란드, 독일까지 왔는데 이제 헝가리까지 전파돼서 이미 시작됐죠. 사업 시작하는 초기 비용도 굉장히 저렴하고 세금도 다른 유럽 국가에 비해서 많이 저렴해서 이제 동유럽 쪽으로 스타트업 그 웨이브가 시작됐다고 합니다. 그럼 한번 같이 가볼까요?
It's here. Like it's unique. We don't want to put it here.
우와! 너무 예쁘잖아. 미쳤다. 이게 어떻게 사무실이야? 미쳤다리. 일이 절로 되겠다. 여기선 일을 할 수 있을까? Even I could find some information after graduation in Hungary. Why Hungary? What?
No, just kidding.
It's not good for...
Yeah, it's your team's job to figure it out because it's deeply process.
Okay.
Great, nice meeting you. See you.
So I have a question. Why did you choose the Hungary to do startup?
Personal, life. I graduated in Hungary. Now I have a family. There's also like a huge, let's say, market potential. It's almost in the center of Europe. You've got a lot of access. So I would say that there's a lot of benefits that you, let's say, start a business. But as for me, it's like, personal. I'm planning to stay here for like a longer period of time. So there's the main reasons that, I started my company here.
So what is pros and cons of business in the Hungary?
Let's start with the cons. So the cons, I would actually say the language barrier. So that would be quite difficult because Hungarian is not an easy language to, let's say, learn or to understand. So in that regard, like if you want to make a connection, you need to have like a translator or somebody who knows and understand the market. So in that way, the language could be a real barrier. In Budapest, as I know that a lot of, let's say, international companies are investing to Hungary. So yeah, that would be one of the pros. Also, let's say if you want to start a business, the starting cost is not that high. Someone who's working, you could also find really experienced people or someone who has a really good expertise. You can hire with, let's say, a lower salary than some of the other European countries.
Can I ask average salary?
It really depends on which sector you're working. I could say around like thousands, let's say dollars or euros. So around that would be like a ranges that might vary. Of course, it really depends on which sector you're working. But you could just, let's say, put the line around there where you can earn around that price. Yeah.
In Budapest is a really big city and capital,
Yeah.
but there is also a language barrier. I mean, many people can speak English or not.
It's okay. Like if you meet some old people, it's a little bit difficult. But the young generation, I think they could speak a lot of their English level is pretty good. So for me, I don't face that much of a problem. Let's say commuting or doing things. It's okay.
So you do business as foreigner in Hungary. So what is most difficult things?
So the difficult part is, of course, I'll come up to the language side again. For example, I couldn't read a lot of like laws and regulations. So I always have to ask somebody to help me out. That's a little bit challenging. Other cases, I don't see that much of a problem, but sometimes I do face, let's say, not being able to fully understand the mentality of the people. So that could be a little bit challenging, but it really depends on which sector you work in. But the language is the top one. So
Could you please tell me the Hungary's startup environment, like investment, subsidy from government, something?
So in terms of subsidiary, it really depends on the sector. They really support. So if you're green, like, there are sectors everywhere. So if you're green and if you pay taxes a lot, they're happy. Of course, there are a lot of events. There are a lot of, let's say, international people are coming here. You can do a lot of things here. So you don't need a lot of money to start a business. Sometimes you can be even out of the country to start a business. So it's not a problem. I would say like you need to have like an Hungarian accountant or a Hungarian lawyer so that the process are much more easier. If they speak English, then it's a plus sign.
Even if I am foreigner, if I apply, can I get some subsidy from Hungarian government, or it's really difficult?
Advise you to get a Hungarian partner and smooth your process.
For example, I have to find accelerator.
Not necessarily. I would say that's just, like a bigger picture and a bigger perspective. If you want to be close, if you want to, know the market, if you want to see, and also it as a beneficiary wise, it's better to have, let's say, co-partner as in Hungarian, where that person can help you to get to subsidiaries or those kind of things. And of course, normally, if you have, let's say, someone local, you can get more networking and you can get access to more possibilities. So I think it's the same to many countries.
You study master in Hungary, right? So do you recommend to study in Hungary if somebody start their business in Hungary?
For me, I think it's better that so that you could see that whether this country is your taste or not. So whether you know whether this is your cup of tea. I always think I've traveled to many countries. I've seen countries. There are countries that I like. There are countries that I'm not really keen on. If you actually study, you not only study, but you learn the culture. You hang out with a lot of a young generation. You're able to understand their mentality, what their passions, what they're looking forward to, or how they want to live their life. So it's just, let's say, a good starter. Tuition-wise, I would say it's really cheap compared to, let's say, US or UK. There are a lot of really expensive countries. So there are a lot of opportunities. You not necessarily, let's say, meet or hang out with one national. You can hang out with other people. So through that process, you're able to, let's say, make more networking. And if you love this country, then you could actually, let's say, put a more effort into it. I could see there are a lot of, let's say, Koreans here in Hungary for the past several years. I mean, since if I see a lot of Koreans, then probably it means that it's a good, safer place.
You got a scholarship from the Hungarian government, right? Is that stipendium scholarship?
Yeah, it's a stipendium Hungaricum. That's the Hungarian government connection with other countries. I think it's a really good initiative to, let's say, to bring more new faces to the country. I mean, since we both work in the education, sector, I would say that normally people stick with it's Budapest and that's it. No, there are a lot of things to see. You can just go around and relax. So yeah, I mean, if you want to invest, sure, it's a good opportunity to start. Of course, you can, let's say, make up your branches.
Last question. Compared to UK, Netherlands, and Germany, they really investment startup in their country, right? So many young people, they want to go that country and then open their own business. But compared to those country and Hungary, really strong point recommend to young generation for starting business? I
would say it's cheaper, much cheaper than countries. I mean, money can play a huge factor. So let's compare just the living cost of UK compared to here. If you want to stay 1 week of rent in UK can be even compared to 1 month of rent in Hungary. Like our generation is like, you don't need to stick with one place. You can go to place. So I would say Hungary can be like your good foundation. Like you don't need to spend a lot of money for, let's say, housing. Let's just only talk about housing. I mean, you just, let's say, spend less and then you can, let's say, put more money into your own startup. But of course, if you have a lot of British customers or German customers, of course, it's better to just, stick with the place. But if your business relies on, online services, it's just better in the sense that where you still consider how much you spend money in the other thing.